We're going to see one of the most exciting gold discoveries in the world today, actually, and I hope I can demonstrate that to you. We're going to go underground, we're going to go up in a drone, we're going to see a little bit of AI, we're going to see some amazing drill results. So I just passed through those disclaimers. In summary, this is the slide. What have we got? Well, we've got a very good discovery. It's called Sunday Creek. It exists in Victoria. It's about 60 kilometres from Melbourne. So very close to Melbourne, but I'll show you that it's actually quite a relatively remote project away from lots of people. The hit rate, it's a measure that I have used in my career. Say 100 gram metre hit rate times the metres times the grams, and then how many holes have been drilled into any prospect. And this hit rate, we've got 42, I think, hits above 100 so far. That's pretty outstanding, and I don't think there's anything better in the world today, so that's how we can rank it, but it would be up there with the very best of them. We put 52 kilometres into this project today, over the last couple of years. We're putting 60 kilometres in over the next year, so we're going to more than double the metres. We're not running still. How do you make discoveries? Well, you have the cash, you have the permits, you have the people, you have the drill rigs available, and then if you're onto a great system, that's how it happens. And that's what we have. We've got the money, and we've got the freehold land also above the project, 133 hectares. This is a very high-grade project, so we focus on grade. It's getting better, and I'll show you. It's getting better in terms of the grade. These systems tend to get better at depth. We've only explored about 3% of this system to date. It's over 10 kilometres. Big systems have big footprints. And this is a big one, so we're early into the discovery phase, and of course with that big footprint, I imply the scale. The capital structure, I'll move through this very quickly. It's become a lot more institutional. We listed just about 2 years ago, and we've got a lot of institutions right around the world invested in this stock, and it's increasing as the discovery becomes better known. I'm going around the world again next week to tell the story. A key point here is this 49%. That's a company called Mawson here, which spun the projects out. It's a company I co-founded, I chair, so I'm very much conflicted on both sides here. We spun Southern Cross out of Mawson 2 years ago, and the intention was always to give Mawson shareholders their half of the pie. So it's about 50-50 each. Through success and tax implications, we've had to basically come back and merge the companies now rather than distribute the stock. It's the most tax effective mechanism, and that's going through now. So there's a scheme of arrangement that will make this a much more investable stock rather than having 50% owned in Australia and 50% owned in Canada by two separate companies. What's it mean for you as a Southern Cross shareholder? Essentially nothing. It will be the same board, it will be the same capital structure. The day that Southern Cross ends its listing here in Australia, it will relist the next day as Southern Cross with that combined ownership. So you get to vote on it as a shareholder, but in terms of the look, the feel, and the structure and the management, it's business as usual. But it will make a much better investable product. I know there's institutions who are waiting on the sidelines for that consolidation to occur. So more eyes, more buying, more demand, less supply is the idea. The discovery is getting better. If we look at when we listed this company back in May 2022, this is time on the x-axis, and this is the average, just the database average, not a resource or anything like that. The average width in blue here that I've just gone over with the yellow line has stayed about consistent at about 4 metres. Average width if you take a 2 metre at 1 gram cut. But the grade has just continued to get better and better, and it's now averaging over 25 grams. So we're hitting more and more high grades that are influencing that average number. And you can see the top 10 here on this side here have been made in the last 6 months. So the top 10 hits are reflective of that also. Why is that? Well, I think we can just stand back. I see some colleagues here from Fosterville in the audience, and really Fosterville has been the key success story in Victoria over the last 7 or 8 years. We're producing more gold there than we have for 100 years because of this change in geology that Fosterville saw, and we were able to stand on the shoulders of giants, if you like, and use that geological concept to understand our system, to go deeper and to try and replicate the understanding, if you like. And now Victoria is producing about 500,000 ounces. There's 5 mines in production, and it's really seen a resurgence. It really is the third rush during Victoria's history. Fosterville was the highest grade gold mine on earth, the lowest ASIC, and the top 10 producer for 4 of the last 6 or 7 years. So it certainly is something that you would want to try and replicate if you could. And here's the geological reason. Ballarat and Bendigo and those styles of deposits made Victoria very famous 150 years ago. But it's Sunday Creek, Fosterville and Costerfield, which are a different style. 70 million years later, they form different spatially and temporally. They form very different economic outcomes also. I bet 90% of the people here who understand the gold industry will think Victoria is nuggety and hard to pull these deposits together. That is true of Bendigo and Ballarat, but not true of these deposits, which have a very low coefficient of variation, a low to moderate coefficient of variation. They form nice, modern, reconcilable mines, at least in the case of those mines that exist that are mining today. In terms of where we are, here's Melbourne. Oops, hope you had your breakfast. Up here, 60 kilometres north. Here's Fosterville, about 100 kilometres from us, Costerfield here. So the orange deposits are those that you want to look for. We call them, as geologists, epizonal deposits. You can see they form in a different part of the state to the green ones. Let's just look in at the project itself. Here's the project we zoomed in on. That's where we put 50 kilometres of drilling. The key point here is it's a little, maybe a messy, so I'll put over that line. There's the 10-kilometre strike of mineralisation where we have drilled gold right along that strike, and there's historic mines. But the key focus has been that red area. And just while I'm focusing in on that red area, let's do what I promised you and look at a drone. So here's where the 50 kilometres have gone over about that kilometre over the last 18 months especially. Now this is the lay of the land. This is 60 kilometres from Melbourne. There are about 12 properties within 2 kilometres to the north, but we do have this hill in front of us which acts as a great buffer. But the secret to this project is if you look south and southeast into that farmland, you can see that there's no development nor houses, not a house for 10 kilometres, and that's a real secret to this project. So don't think close to Melbourne means close to 25 houses within 500 metres of the project. That's not the case. Just going back down now into that zoomed area, we're looking in a plan view here. Here's all the drilling down to a kilometre, but let's just look in the plan view how this works. The mineralisation is hosted here, we say, like a ladder. We're looking down like a bird's eye view. The ladder has some rails, which are the yellow lines, and then the rungs of the ladder, these blue things that I'm drawing over here. This is 200 metres, so this is about a kilometre in scale here that you can see, 1.2 kilometres. The blue lines, the rungs, there's about 49 of them so far, and we're finding more and more and more as we drill. They're the things that host the gold, but they're hosted exclusively between those yellow lines. The yellow lines we've missed in 2 out of 100 drill holes, so it's a very targetable horizon. We know when we're coming into it, we know when we're leaving it, which lowers the cost of capital, less drilling, etc. So it's quite a targetable deposit. And then we can start to get quite clever about drilling the rungs out, which average 2 to 10 metres in this orientation, 20 to 100 in this orientation, and they extend from surface, with the mineralisations at surface, right down to a kilometre, and any one of those blue lines we can trace for over 600 metres. So, actually, we're just going to go back down again, the wonders of the 3D here. Now, what we've got here basically is what we've drilled to date. In the black lines, the yellow lines are the holes that have not been released. You can see the old mines down to 200 metres here, about 80 metres here, and another 100 metres there. So we've drilled under these old mines that nobody had really looked at until a couple of years ago. There was only 5 kilometres of drilling. You can perhaps see the legend here, greater than 500 grams is in red, so you can start to see, if I just circle these, the very high grades that are coming out of this. They come out at a certain level. That's the secret to these deposits. I said they get better at depth. Through the magic of geology and what Fosterville learnt and what we're learning, the system transitions and you get these extremely high grades, in our case about 400 metres below surface. The system is very much open. If we make an assumption here and just turn off some of the other results there and just look at these blue lines here. This is an exploration target area we put out in January. We said in that with 40 kilometres of drilling we had 1 to 1.6 million ounces at between 7.2 and 9.7 grams per tonne gold equivalent. The areas that we're drilling into now, and you can see a lot of those hits, including this one, 3 at 124 down here, and a lot of hits all through here, where the project's expanding into. So our aim in the blue and the yellow is to get to that 3 million ounce target at 10 grams. If we can do that, that's the aim. If we can do that, then this is a super, very special deposit. And we say we're a third to halfway there. Remembering this extends for 10 kilometres this way. I showed you that trend. And if anything to go by, these systems, the adjacent ones, Costerfield and Fosterville, go down to 2 kilometres. So there's a lot more to go, and you can see the yellow holes. Always news flow from this project. If I've lost you with the 3D, go onto our website, southerncrossgold.com.au, and you can play with this yourself. You can turn layers on and off. So this is the same area. If you don't believe me, believe the machines. Here's the exploration target area basically that I showed you, and the dots around here are where we can see lots of extension that the machine learning has told us. So that really does fit very well with our geological understanding, so I believe the machines at least, and there's a lot of data that's come from that within a 2-minute presentation left here. I haven't got much time to talk, but there's millions and millions of data points. And when I go around and tell these stories, people tend to believe the machines more than geologists. So I think the geologists have got a bit of work to do here. Antimony's 20% in situ value, very critical metal. China and Russia control 82% of it. You don't have a defence industry without it. And this is one of the key discoveries in the Western world and will play a key point to it. Interestingly, this project, the old mines at Sunday Creek were left open in World War I when every mine shut because the British kept them open under the Imperial Munitions Act. And now the discussions have changed and who we're talking to these days, but for the same reasons. Metallurgically simple. We've replicated the flow sheet of Costerfield down the road. We have free gold, 80+% free gold, and we have a gravity and bulk flotation product at this moment. We're doing a lot more optimisation, as anyone would need to optimise the gold into the gravity and minimise the arsenic into the float. And we can do that. It's whether it's blending or a separate float. So so far so very good with the Met. Victoria, may surprise some of you, is actually open for business. These are some slides from a government representative, Daniel Thompson, who's the Director of Resources Victoria Approvals Coordination Group, who we work with very closely. They take major projects in the state and handhold them. So Victoria, his message only a few days ago, Victoria is open for business, and Sunday Creek, Southern Cross, tick all the boxes to get that support. So their mandate is to have a mine permitted every year. And there's been many mines permitted in Victoria, as I said. There's 5 mines operating today that I'm circling here. There's many awaiting approval here, and that will be the demonstrable fact when we see some of those approved. Again, you can't do this without a great team. We've got Boyd and Nick here. They're in the crowd. Come and visit us at our booth. We've got 50% women on staff. You can't be a good company, a good modern mining company without replicating society, and that's what we work very well to do. Got great relationships with native title holders, the Shire, the people who live around the project. I'm 6th generation from the project area, ironically after travelling the world for the last 25 years. We're going to make money for shareholders by drilling this and making this much bigger. We're doing a lot of the proper work behind the background in terms of environmental permitting and those relationships with government, etc. So please, if you haven't joined us on this amazing path, this is one of the best gold projects that's in your backyard, literally here in Australia, and keep an eye on our results. Every few weeks you'll see amazing results come to market. Thank you very much.